Good evening. Let me ask you a question. How many job applications have you submitted in the past month? 5, 10, maybe 20? And how many of those resulted in an actual conversation with a hiring manager? Now, if you've ever applied to a role at a large organization, say through a multi-round hiring process like the Amazon interview loop, you already know how extensive the journey can be. Application portal, assessments, screening calls, interviews. But here's the part most people don't realize. In many cases, no human being has actually reviewed your application before those steps even begin. Across mid to large organizations, automated screening systems now serve as the first point of evaluation in the hiring process. These systems were introduced to help employers manage growing volumes of applicants as hiring moved online in the late 1990s and early 2000s, and in many ways, they succeeded. Employers gained the ability to process hundreds, sometimes thousands, of applicants per role. But in doing so, something fundamental was quietly removed from the hiring process: the ability to show up. Before the internet, candidates didn't submit documents into portals. They prepared. They dressed professionally. They walked into businesses. They introduced themselves. And they asked for work. Hiring managers weren't simply reviewing credentials. They were observing effort, communication, preparedness, follow-through. Behavioral scientists often describe this as costly signaling, when an individual invests time and effort to demonstrate seriousness of intent. Showing up required commitment, and that commitment provided real information about future reliability. Today, that signal has largely disappeared. Instead, candidates submit narrative documents into opaque systems, often without knowing how many roles are available, how many applicants have applied, what evaluation criteria are being used, or when they should expect a response. A single corporate job posting can receive hundreds of applications, with only a small percentage advancing to a phone screen, and so candidates apply again, and again, and again, completing redundant forms across multiple platforms, hoping for visibility inside systems they cannot see. Employers, in turn, receive overwhelming volumes of resumes that must be parsed, categorized, and filtered before a conversation ever begins. Interviews are then spent rediscovering identity, learning foundational information that has already been submitted elsewhere, rather than assessing alignment between the candidate and the organization. In short, the process has become optimized for processing documents, not introducing people. Today, the goods virtual world is introducing a new model designed to restore intentional presence to hiring, without sacrificing fairness, accessibility, or scale. It's called the Goods Career Passport. For decades, candidates have been encouraged to translate their professional identity into increasingly longer documents, often with the help of executive coaches, resume writers, or formatting tools, in an effort to appear more visible inside automated hiring systems. But those same systems were built to compress that information back down into structured fields for evaluation. Applicants expand themselves into narratives, only to be reduced back into data points. The Career Passport simplifies this process by allowing candidates to present what matters most, intentionally, before any automated compression occurs. No more rewriting the same experience across multiple applications. No more long-form resumes designed to satisfy passing logic. No more preparing documents for systems that were built to summarize them. Instead, candidates introduce a verified, permission-based professional identity that reflects their domain, their approach to work, and their demonstrated follow-through within the hiring process. This includes their verified education, their primary professional domain, a one-sentence professional belief describing how they approach their work, and a behavioral reliability indicator. This indicator is not based on peer reviews, popularity, or demographic data. It reflects only verified follow-through events within the hiring process itself, such as attending scheduled interviews, completing agreed-upon onboarding steps, or responding within committed timeframes. In other words, your word is your currency. Employers can attach a Goods Apply QR code to job postings across their existing hiring channels. Candidates scan, share their career passport, and enter consideration instantly, without uploading documents or completing repetitive forms. In addition, organizations may host live walk-in hiring lobbies, accessible through standard web browsers on smartphones and computers, with optional immersive virtual reality environments for those seeking richer presence-based interaction. Within these digital walk-in spaces, candidates introduce themselves live, employers request brief introductory conversations, and structured follow-up screens ensure fairness in evaluation. This approach restores the behavioral signal of showing up in a format suited for today's workforce. For candidates, this means fewer redundant applications, faster introductions, and greater control over personal data. For employers, it means reduced administrative screening, shorter time to interview, and earlier insight into candidate alignment. Over time, it allows organizations to evaluate prospective hires not on resume prestige, but on demonstrated engagement within the hiring process itself. In the past, you found work by showing up. In the present, you apply and wait. But in the future, opportunity won't belong to those who can navigate the most portals. It will belong to those who are prepared to introduce themselves. The Goods Career Passport shifts hiring from a process of document submission to one of verified introduction, from processing applications to meeting people. Because work was never meant to be discovered through paperwork, it was meant to begin with a conversation. And in the future of work, your preparation will speak before your paperwork ever does. This is Candace Goodman with the Good News Report.